What if everything you thought you knew about the golden age of Hollywood was just a polished veneer, hiding secrets too wild for the tabloids of the day? Beneath the glittering marquees and the starry-eyed adoration of fans, classic Hollywood was a labyrinth of hidden affairs, tangled love triangles, and jaw-dropping betrayals. Today, people often romanticize that era as more elegant or refined, but the truth is sometimes darker and definitely more intriguing. In this look back at old Hollywood day, you'll discover how these famous stars who you always call beloved celebrities turn out to be the most craziest people you might have ever known. Let's dive in. The Golden Age's greatest seducers. Many of Hollywood's first true heartthrobs had a reputation for far more than just their on-screen roles. Gary Cooper, for instance, was the tall, laconic leading man who conquered the box office in classic hits like High Noon, but his real-life antics matched any Hollywood script in terms of drama. He seemed incapable of sharing the screen with a co-star without also inviting her into his personal dressing room after the camera stopped rolling. Rumor has it, Cooper had flings with nearly every major actress he worked alongside. Marlene Dietrich famously turned his head even while he was involved with the tempestuous Lupe Vez, an affair that nearly ended in tragedy when Vez allegedly tried to shoot him out of sheer jealousy. Meanwhile, John Barrymore, a stage legend turned film star, earned a reputation for out-of-control drinking and a seeming addiction to passionate entanglements. With 4 marriages under his belt and countless rumored affairs, Barrymore turned his personal life into a never-ending swirl of scandal. He was so charming that some referred to him as the Great Profile, with admirers lining up for a stolen moment of his time. Yet behind the charm lay deep-rooted insecurities, fueling a constant pursuit of new romantic conquests. Then there was Errol Flynn, forever remembered as the dashing hero in The Adventures of Robin Hood. He had a knack for getting his way with women, whether they were enamored by his good looks or starstruck by his rising fame. Flynn's escapades got so out of hand that MGM tried to rein in his behavior, forcing him to pen an essay on Hollywood morality. Of course, even the best public relations spin couldn't mask allegations of underage relationships and the swirl of rumors about late-night debauchery. It was all part of a pattern. In an era without the watchdogs of social media, these men exploited stardom for maximum pleasure and maximum scandal. Fiery women who broke the rules. Old Hollywood wasn't just about handsome rogues. Women like Lupe Vez and Louise Brooks shattered conventions simply by living life on their own terms. Vez, nicknamed the Mexican Spitfire, refused to play the part of a demure starlet. She had real fire in her veins and a temper to match. One infamous story claims she once tried to verify Gary Cooper's loyalty at a party by making a scandalous scene, an unthinkable break from the era's strict social norms. Wild rumors plagued her too, including an urban legend that she offed herself with her head in a toilet bowl after being abandoned while pregnant. In reality, her passing was far more peaceful, yet gossip followed her in death as avidly as it had in life. Louise Brooks, for her part, was a striking beauty who walked away from Hollywood at the height of her brief success. She hated what she deemed its artificiality, preferring to spend her days with sex, books, and gin. Brooks's rebellious streak included openly posing for nude photographs and engaging in relationships with both men and women. Greta Garbo was rumored to be among her short list of lovers. She had little patience for the studio system, and by the time she was 26, she had turned her back on film for good. Despite struggling financially afterward, Brooks stood by her choice, never regretting a minute spent pursuing her own freedom instead of kowtowing to Hollywood's expectations. These women weren't waiting in the wings, hoping to be rescued. They stepped onto the stage, took center spotlight, and demanded that the world bend a little or a lot to accommodate their unconventional appetites. Their willingness to defy norms, feuds, and all became legendary, ensuring that their names remain etched in Hollywood's roll call of unforgettable personalities. Infamous love triangles. Few rumors stoked Hollywood's fires quite like stories of tangled affairs or triple entanglements that threatened to implode entire productions. One of the most dramatic examples was Gary Cooper's on-set affair with Marlene Dietrich while he was publicly entangled with Lupe Vase. The tension soared so high that Vase supposedly refused to leave the set unless she could keep an eye on Cooper and Dietrich every second. Sometimes old Hollywood sets felt more like a powder keg of passion than a disciplined workplace. Marlon Brando, meanwhile, sparked headlines for his boundary-breaking lifestyle in the 1950s and beyond. Known for his smoldering performances in A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront, Brando was just as electric off-screen. He never pretended to be a one-woman kind of man, or even a one-gender kind of person. Rumors swirled of Brando's affairs with Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, and numerous other celebrities, male and female alike. He spoke openly of needing constant stimulation, emotional or otherwise, which led to a chain of passionate encounters that might begin or end at any moment. His honesty was shocking for the time, but it helped cement his reputation as one of the rawest, most intense figures Tinseltown had ever witnessed. These high-voltage love triangles often generated more publicity than any official press release. Fans were torn between shock and fascination, while studios strategized on how to contain the narratives. After all, the era's moral code frowned heavily on adultery, bigamy, same-gender relationships, and even cohabitation outside of marriage. Yet star power was so intoxicating that the public also couldn't turn away. As each new affair leaked, the movie-going crowd gobbled up tickets, fueling an industry that realized, perhaps cynically, that scandal could actually boost box office numbers, so long as it didn't land the star in jail. Dangerous affairs and shocking betrayals. Not every juicy old Hollywood romance was mere rumor or harmless fling. Some of them teetered on the edge of genuine danger. Take the turbulent relationship between Lana Turner and mobster Johnny Stompanato. Turner was a luminous film star with an endless string of admirers, but she became entangled with Stompanato, who was linked to powerful underworld figures. Their arguments were reportedly violent, culminating in a night of terror when Turner's teenage daughter Cheryl Crane fatally stabbed Stompanato. According to court testimony, Cheryl claimed she acted in defense of her mother, a drama that gripped the nation and forever changed Turner's image. Across the pond, Diana Dors earned notoriety for hosting outlandish parties at her Berkshire estate, where hidden cameras allegedly fed grainy footage of unsuspecting couples into a private viewing area. The scandal left many socialites hesitant even to accept an invitation. Dors relished her reputation as a glamorous rabble-rouser, reminding everyone that not all starlets existed to smile prettily on red carpets. Some thrived on creating their own mayhem behind closed doors. Betrayals took many forms. Jealous wives, jilted lovers, and outraged friends sometimes turned on these stars with lawsuits or even lethal attempts. In an age that lacked sophisticated security or a robust tabloid check system, violence often erupted from hidden grudges. Lupe Vey's near-shooting incident with Gary Cooper sprang from that same well of jealousy, but it was by no means the only such story. Studios worked overtime to shield these incidents, but sometimes the intrigue spilled into police reports and courtrooms, igniting public curiosity. Paradoxically, the more dangerous the story, the bigger the star seemed to become, testament to a cultural obsession with heroes and anti-heroes alike, especially when their off-screen lives contained as much drama as any Hollywood screenplay, forbidden passions and secret identities. While some affairs played out in dramatic public spats, others were deliberately swept under the rug. Cary Grant, revered for his comedic timing and rakish grin in films like His Girl Friday, lived for years with fellow actor Randolph Scott. The press often photographed the two men laughing by the pool, describing it as a mere bachelor's arrangement. Yet rumors circulated that their bond ran deeper than platonic friendship. Whether these rumors were fact or fiction, the idea that a beloved matinee idol might have a hidden love life stirred widespread speculation. For many fans, it was a puzzle piece that didn't fit neatly into 1940s cultural norms. Joan Crawford, known for her magnetic on-screen presence and steely determination, openly had relationships with both men and women, though the latter were rarely discussed in the press. She drew a line between her stardom and her personal affairs, relying on carefully worded studio statements to deflect suspicion. Even so, whispers abounded. Her rumored romances with figures like Greta Garbo or Barbara Stanwyck made waves in those who dared to gossip. Over time, film historians uncovered love letters and personal testimonies that seemed to confirm Crawford's more fluid approach to love. Whether a relationship was real or rumored, the sheer volume of stories about her left no doubt that Crawford lived life on her own terms. The notion of celebrity privacy was tenuous at best. In a town where paparazzi lurked outside restaurants, keeping a secret was a constant uphill battle. Yet some stars, protected by powerful studio heads or hush money, managed to keep entire swaths of their personal lives out of the public domain. It's a reminder that for every sensational headline we know about, there might be a dozen hidden stories that never made the evening papers, tantalizing secrets that, once revealed, would have rattled the industry to its core. Scandals that rocked careers. Ingrid Bergman found out the hard way that even an acclaimed talent could be toppled by scandal. After her affair with filmmaker Roberto Rossellini became public, Bergman faced outrage not just from gossip columnists, but from American audiences who had adored her in Casablanca and other classics. In an era when extramarital affairs were severely judged, her involvement with a married Rossellini, while she herself was still wed, sparked public condemnation, including scathing attacks from the floor of the U.S. Senate. For a time, she was virtually exiled from Hollywood, forced to continue her craft in Europe until the scandal subsided. Charlie Chaplin, meanwhile, was one of the world's first true movie megastars thanks to his little tramp persona. Yet behind the comedic genius lay a far more unsettling side. Chaplin's documented interest in very young women and the bizarre auditions he allegedly orchestrated using silent film-style caption cards cast a dark shadow over his legacy, Though beloved by millions for his comedic brilliance, he repeatedly crossed lines that modern standards would view as deeply exploitative. When stories circulated about him throwing custard pies at unclothed starlets, it wasn't just comedic chaos, it was a revelation of the power imbalances in early Hollywood. These scandals hit stars where it hurt most, their ability to remain bankable in an industry that, while tolerant of some behind-the-scenes chaos, still cared about public opinion. Fans might overlook minor indiscretions, but large-scale moral uproars or legal troubles could sink a career. Some, like Bergman, eventually made triumphant comebacks, proving that the public can forgive and forget if the talent is undeniable. Others, like Chaplin, faced long-term fallout, including immigration hassles and forced exile, revealing that not every star was immune to the consequences of scandal, no matter how beloved they once were. Legends lost too soon. Sometimes the swirl of scandal combined with personal demons proved too destructive to escape. Marilyn Monroe, the ultimate blonde bombshell, struggled with the public's fascination while wrestling with private mental health battles. From rumored affairs with President John F. Kennedy and possibly his brother Bobby, to a tempestuous marriage to Joe DiMaggio, Monroe's life was a roller coaster. She never seemed to find a stable landing place. Whispers about substance abuse, heartbreak, and behind-the-scenes politics dogged her until she was discovered lifeless in her bedroom, an untimely end that triggered waves of conspiracy theories. Many believed her demise was no simple story, just like her life hadn't been. Barbara Lamar, dubbed the girl who was too beautiful for her own good, soared to stardom in the silent era, but paid the price. Though known for witty remarks like never sleeping more than 2 hours a night because she had better things to do, Lamar's health quickly deteriorated. She courted scandal by leaving her husband for a new lover, then flitted from one affair to another, celebrating a lifestyle of extremes. In the end, her spirited existence was cut short at only 29, fueling myths about the price one pays for burning too brightly too fast. In each case, these stars battled a system that profited from their drama while rarely offering real support. Studios capitalized on the headlines of "offed themselves," "OD'd," or "accusation surfaced," then moved on to the next big name. The result was a string of tragic figures, some revered, some reviled, whose stories remain etched in Hollywood lore. They're cautionary tales about an industry that both elevates and devours, feeding a public hungry for sensation. And even decades later, we're still picking through the pieces, trying to understand what really happened behind those locked doors and elaborate facades. Redemption, reinvention, and unending fascination. For some stars, scandal became a turning point, spurring them toward reinvention. Elizabeth Taylor became famous not just for her violet eyes and sterling film roles, but for her dramatic personal life, which included 8 marriages. One of the most sensational episodes was her affair with Eddie Fisher, who was married to Taylor's close friend, Debbie Reynolds. Public outrage erupted, but Taylor's star power proved too luminous to fade. She and Reynolds eventually mended their friendship, with Taylor openly apologizing and Reynolds extending forgiveness, a Hollywood rarity that turned a bitter betrayal into a hopeful lesson about personal growth. Ava Gardner also found ways to reflect on her tumultuous experiences. After marriages to Mickey Rooney, Artie Shaw, and Frank Sinatra, she settled into a quieter life, often admitting she hadn't found lasting happiness. Yet, she never shied away from acknowledging her choices. Meanwhile, Cary Grant famously delved into LSD therapy later in life, claiming it helped him confront and heal emotional wounds. His final marriage offered a degree of tranquility, perhaps a testament that redemption is possible even for those surrounded by rumor. Nevertheless, there are endless reasons the public still can't get enough of these stories. Hollywood's older generation paved the road for sensational headlines, love triangles, curses, hidden cameras, you name it, long before social media put every misstep under a microscope. Their lives and legends remind us that fame can be a double-edged sword. It grants privilege, money, and influence, but demands a toll in privacy and sometimes moral compromise. The fascination lingers because these figures, larger than life, dared to indulge desires that many could only dream about. They turned real life into epic drama, forging myths that still spark debate and intrigue, shining a spotlight on the universal human thirst for scandal, love, and the occasional second chance. It's easy to picture old Hollywood as all glitz and glamour, crystalline chandeliers and Art Deco mansions, paparazzi flashes at every premiere. Yet, behind the gilded curtains stood real people, often trapped by their own fame. Driven by desire, ambition, or simply the hunger for something new, they created personal dramas every bit as riveting as the roles they played on screen. In the end, these tales remind us that the most human traits, longing, jealousy, passion, and the quest for validation, don't vanish under stage lights. They only intensify, and it's precisely because of this intensity, this raw collision of fame and frailty, that old Hollywood's greatest scandals continue to transfix us, offering a timeless lesson in both the allure and the cost of unbridled ambition. Thanks for joining this journey through Hollywood's most provocative legends. Stay curious, because in a place built on fantasy, sometimes the real stories are the most unbelievable of all.